Good morning and welcome to the next installation of the AIM Technologies Mini Skills Series. I am Brian Hall. I am one of the consultants with AIM Technologies, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you this morning Alice Burke, who will be doing the Dynamics 365 for Sales demonstration. Alice has been working with CRM for several years now. She has done a fantastic job with several implementations that we have. And knows all about the product. So Alice, we're looking forward to hearing from you today. Take it away.
Thank you, Brian. I have been working with the Dynamics CRM product. It was originally Microsoft CRM since 2003, iteration 1.3. So going on 17 years. So today, I realize that 30 minutes is a very short amount of time to cover a product that has tentacles in practically every aspect of the Microsoft stack. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is now a part of the Power Platform, which is under the Office 365 banner. It's licensed separately, but we can take advantage of integrations with Office, as we have been for many years, but also work with the Power Apps and the Power Automate, or also known as Microsoft Flow products, within Dynamics 365. In fact, they're replacing some of the older functionality in Dynamics 365 for sales, or for any of the Dynamics 365 flavors, with Power Automate functionality moving into the future. And customizations now look and feel like Power Apps under the Power Platform. So today what I'm going to discuss is the sales functionality, and this is really just a tiny little sliver of the types of things that you are out of the box with Dynamics 365, but also doesn't even scratch the surface of the customizations and the products or the tasks or the tools or the processes that we can build on top of Dynamics 365. And so, in the past, we've done things like track boats on the river, or training sessions and certifications, or safety and health records, or environmental safety drills and such for environmental consulting. So there's just a wide variety of things that we can build on top of this solution, in addition to its just out-of-the-box functionality, which I'm going to show you right now. So what you're seeing in your screen is a demo version of Dynamics 365, and I've got it set to the sales activity dashboard. And so this is one of the out-of-the-box dashboards. Of course, dashboards are completely customizable, but this shows, a sales pipeline, some open leads, some assistant things, like activities that are coming up in the future. And, assuming I'm a salesperson, my open opportunities, those that I'm working on, and, revenue, and then my closed opportunities in the current year, so I can see what I've already done. And then activities. So activities being things like emails to customers, tasks that I need to do, phone calls that I need to make, appointments that I have scheduled or need to schedule. So that's just an example of a dashboard that helps me organize my day, helps me organize my sales, and look into the future of, what I've got in my pipeline. And think of a pipeline, for my perspective as a salesperson, as my ability to manage maybe something towards my goal. For maybe this quarter, I want to have 100,000. I'm looking at this pipeline. I know that I'm getting close, but maybe not quite there. So I need to start putting more stuff in the top. But from an operational perspective, someone looking at this pipeline, plus the pipeline of other salespeople, as they're getting closer down into the closure phase, it may not be, or it could be, that we're seeing how much money we're possibly about to start making as a business, but also how much labor we're going to need, or how much materials we're going to need. So some of that operational planning stuff can sort of feed from these types of tools as well. I'm going to go ahead and work through a sample lead to opportunity. So let's say that we're at a trade show and we have developed a list of leads that we get from the trade show. And so here I just clicked on that graph and it brought me to what's in the records that are part of that graph. So I'm just going to pick one of these because I know this lead needs some sort of action. It's been assigned to me. I'm the owner. I need to pick up the phone and call these people, or I need to, in some way, I determine whether this lead is actually a good or bad lead. So if it's a bad lead, that's fine. We fill the top of our funnel with all leads, and as they filter through, we qualify them or disqualify them as necessary. I'm going to bring your attention to this process flow up at the top, and these can be modified. So this is just the way it comes out of the box. These are some of the things that as a salesperson I can complete as I process this lead into becoming an opportunity. And so, yeah, I've identified the decision maker. It's an individual who's making the decision. They're going to do it this year. It's $10,000. So I'm going to go ahead and move it to the next stage. So what the next stage is just a qualification. That qualification, it becomes an opportunity. And so here we're looking at the same lead, but now it's called an opportunity because I've put a dollar figure and a timeline around when it may or may not close. So there's a few things I can do in an opportunity. I can continue using this process here. I can identify the stakeholders and maybe the competitors. So here I do have a stakeholder. That is the person who's making the decision. I might have other stakeholders as well, other team members at the prospect that I'm talking to. I might add a sales team member. That would be people like me. So I would just put mine, but I could also have inside sales or any of those types of sales teams that could have access to this and also help me close the deal. And I could add competitors if I have any. So I've added an inferior company. So hopefully we're going to beat them. I can also at this point identify an estimated close date. And this helps build that pipeline. So the estimated close date and the estimated revenue and the status, that tells the company or the funnel where it needs to land and how much to put it in there. So let's call it $10,000 and it's in progress, right? So the next thing I might do is have a few activities. So I may say, oh, you know what? Actually, let me show you this. This is a fairly new functionality and some folks really like it. This launch playbook action. So I created a little standard playbook. This formalizes the sales process. So let's say you have some sales folks who you want them to do the exact same process every single time. We're going to put the playbook on this opportunity. Let me go back into the opportunity. So when I want to add, those tasks that I want to happen, I can launch that playbook, assign those tasks, and then in my timeline, I will have, a list of things that I need to do as they happen. Another thing that I can do is if there were emails back and forth that go from my Outlook inbox, I'm just going to pop over there real quick. I have this, this is the email you all got from us this morning. I can track this really quickly to my records in the system. And let's say, and this is not tied to the demo environment, but let's say it was, I could set this regarding that opportunity that I'm working for, and it becomes part of the history of the opportunity. And the same thing happens with appointments and tasks and things that you create from inside of your Outlook and track into the system. And so they would be showing here in the timeline or just in this list of activities that has to happen or has in the past happened. So you can show all activities and it would be anything that's happened. The other thing is this collaborate button. This is actually really new. They just took it out of preview. And what it does, we have been using Teams extensively in our organization, especially since the beginning of coronavirus, but it puts Dynamics 365 right into Teams. So you'll notice, you might be used to seeing chat and Teams and calendars and calls and files, but maybe this is a new tab for you. This is just another way of looking into my environment. And so I'm on that same sales activity dashboard, but I can go to the same places that I can get to in any of the browser options. So it's one and the same. It's what they call the unified interface. It looks the same in Outlook as it does in Teams, as it does in any other integration, and on the mobile device. So you have it on your tablet or your iPhone or your Android, it looks the same. It's a little bit more narrow, obviously, but it's the same look and feel. So I'm going to go back into this opportunity. Notice there's this collaborate button. Let's pretend this is a huge opportunity. It's $1 million opportunity, and it's going to take 4 team members to build the proposal. I'm going to build a team for it. So I'm going to say use Microsoft Teams to collaborate with others. It's going to build, it's going to go out and find my teams. I'm going to collect the demo team, or select the demo team rather, and it's going to build the channel for me. And then when I look into Teams and I go into my list of teams, I see that under my demo team, I have a couple of opportunities out here that I can fully collaborate with. And it's basically the opportunity living inside of Teams. So, the team that's a part of building this proposal, they might go in and participate with it, do some maybe chatting about it, add some files. And one of the neat things about this integration is, I know a lot of folks are using Teams as sort of file management. It's just another window into SharePoint essentially. But when I go back into my opportunity, I'm going to back out of this because that takes a minute. And I go look at let's look at one of those opportunities that I had already created a team for. If I go look at the files, I can see all the files that were associated with, that are in that team library. So they're associated with the opportunity right here. And the same way that this looks with the demo team is the same way that it looks if you were, instead of using Teams, you were just using a SharePoint document library for file management. So you might have all these, proposals and quotes and estimates, and then maybe other supplementary documents out here. For this particular opportunity, I have an overdue task that I need to deal with. I also have some products that are associated with it. So I get a lot of calls and conversations with folks in the CRM, interested in CRM, that want to be able to do quoting and ordering from the CRM for their remote sales force. Maybe they're out in 20 states and the home office uses GP, which is great. We love that. But this is much easier to get quoting and ordering out of and make it look very, very professional, and then send it to the back office, send it into GP or Business Central or whichever ERP solution. So I've added some product lines here. And then one of the other things that we can do is create really, really fantastic quotes. So I actually have built a quote here, and it's in a draft, but I can easily build another one. So I'm going to say this is a new quote. It's for the same product, same opportunity. And instead of the previous quote that I built that might have had, I don't know, a different discount, I'm going to offer a 20% discount on this one. So also I'm going to look up some addresses, add those from my database. So let's see, I'm going to put that as the address. It's going to autofill. I'm going to fill in some other shipping information, some payment information, and then I'm going to activate this quote. And when I do that, it's now, in the system for quoting, but then also I can create a really nice looking quote to send to the customer. Actually, yesterday, there's a couple of out of the box, but I didn't like how they looked. So yesterday I was getting ready for the demo, and it took me about maybe 10 or 15 minutes to build a quote that integrates with with Word and uses one of the standard Word templates, and I just plugged in some fields. So as you can see, it's got a quote number. If I had put an expiration date or another type of date up here, it would have shown here's the item that are in the quote, salesperson, totals, etc. So, and this can be emailed, and the other option is that you can it would email right out of the system, but also save it directly into the library of, associated with that quote. So the last thing I want to do is close that opportunity. So let's say that I followed my playbook. I had a conversation with the customer or the opportunity. I identified all of the things that they needed. I built the quote. I made a follow-up call, and they're ready to buy. So I can close this as won or lost. In this case, I'm going to close it as won because I like to think that I did a really good job selling this deal. Well, actually, first I can convert that quote that I had to an order, so that gets sent into my back office system and processed by the people who need to handle the actual order. So I would close the quote, create the order, and ship it to. There's not necessarily a formalized process for how it goes into your back office system. It's based on your needs. So if you want it just to be a notification to a specific team, that's fine. If you want it to actually go behind the scenes into the order or into the ERP, into GP or Business Central, that's fine too. So we work with a variety of different ways to make that happen. But from my perspective as a salesperson, my job here is done. I have closed let's say this is the one that I've closed. I'm going to close it as one, and I'm going to say, yes, I closed that $10,000 deal. And what that's going to do is it's going to go back and update my pipeline and my sales and my goals rather. So if I go back into my dashboards and I see that I have now got let's see, did I close it here? I'm not sure which one of these it was, but oh, it must have been this one. So now it's showing as closed. I have less in my overall pipeline, or I would have if it had been in there before I started this. And any of the tasks that were associated with it might still be open. I can close those, but at the end of the day, I have progressed towards my goal or my forecast, and I move on to my next activity or my next lead, and I'm good. So it's been around 21 minutes, and I know I probably blew through that sales process, but I know that there are plenty of other inputs that we could have into this sales process. For example, marketing could be running campaigns to give us these leads, and there is a process or there is a component for that in CRM out of the box. We also could, and as you can see, we can build campaigns, forecasts, goals, sales literature. So all of those things can go into the sales process, and so we won't discount those. They're certainly in the system. I just didn't show them. The other thing that's out of the box in the system is cases. And cases in the parlance of Dynamics 365 refers to things like, let's say, support tickets. And so there's an entire service level agreement management process. There's contract management, and there's cases, if you think of them as trouble tickets or however. So that actually exists out of the box as well. Some of the other flavors of Dynamics 365, not Dynamics 365 for sales, but they call them other things like Dynamics 365 for marketing, has a pre-built, really powerful marketing suite integrating with social media and online marketing and advertising and pay per click, that kind of stuff. That's not in this one, but it's in a different flavor. There's also Dynamics 365 for project service, and that one really looks like Microsoft Project integrated with this solution. And so you can build your project templates and progress your customers through a project using that process. It still has this basic sales functionality and service functionality, but it layers that project service on top of it. There's a flavor called field service, similar, but you're sending trucks out into the world and providing services and maybe warranty and processes. And there's, I think the customer service one, I haven't really looked at it lately, but I think it just takes that cases and service level agreement and knowledge base and expands on it, so it's more than just the basic that you get with the sales version. On top of that, with the Power Apps functionality, we have a customer-facing or a supplier-facing portal that can be plugged into this solution, so that while you're using Dynamics 365 for your internal processes, you can share certain things out to customers and manage the security and roles of the folks who can consume that information very simply with pre-built templates. And it's almost like a content management system. Or actually it probably is considered a content management system in its current iteration. And as I mentioned, there's the process of, or the integration with Power Automate, which is sort of the no-code or low-code solution for building workflows and processes that exists to sit over on top of this, but also can be used to build processes completely outside of this and integrated with Word, or Teams is becoming very popular for these types of automations, or even just, you know, on a phone. They have, you know, like building an app for a phone where those processes can be triggered and can be used. So this whole product has kind of come, well, let's just say it has come extremely far since version 1.3 back in the old days. And now with all of the addition of the Power Platform, it is really, really sophisticated in what we can do, what we can build. So I'm going to end the demo portion and open it up for any questions. And I know Brian has opened them up in chat, but if you want to unmute everyone, Brian, or anyone who has questions, I'm happy to answer those at this time.
Thanks, Alice. I appreciate the demo. I think the questions are going to have to be asked in chat here.
Okay.
So if you've got questions, please feel free to ask them in chat.
All right.
Yeah, well, once again, you did a great job, Alice.
Well, thank you so much for attending, and we'll have a recording of this so that you can share this with anyone who might be interested in seeing it.
Excellent. Thanks, Alice. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.